Our next speaker is Chris Dixon, and he is the state coordinator for the Maine 10th Amendment Center.
Hello everyone, thank you for coming. Thank you, Amy. My name is Chris Dixon. I'm the state coordinator of the Maine 10th Amendment Center. We are a states' rights organization dedicated to nullification. For those of you who don't know about nullification, it is basically the state standing up and refusing to comply with unconstitutional federal laws. It really has become brought into modern times in recent years, back in 2005, when, starting with actually Maine, we stood up to Real ID, which was a Bush law that would have been leading us towards a national identification card. Once Maine stepped in, other states followed. Now, several years later, over half the states in the Union have refused compliance, and the law has not been implemented as yet. Yeah. That's the sort of thing we could take on with all the issues we face in this country. Marijuana prohibition, Agenda 21, gun control, all that stuff is unconstitutional at the federal level. These are the things that if we elect people to the legislature who understand how this country should be run, they'd stand up and just say no to these laws. These are laws that also can be nullified at the town levels. Millinocket, Maine, recently, they passed a Second Amendment resolution refusing compliance with unconstitutional gun laws. We've had several towns here in Maine pass food sovereignty ordinances and refuse compliance with laws that regulate how we should grow our food and what we should consume, instead of leaving this to the locals to handle. We spend too much time in this country fighting at the federal level when the federal level isn't going to be saved. We spend over a year fighting federal primaries for presidency, for Congress, and in the end we win one seat that isn't going to be able to swing the tide and is going to be turned out 8 years later. We're going to have the presidency coming up in a few years, and if we elect a liberty president, what's going to happen? You're going to have 8 years tops to deal with an entire system that at a level that is completely corrupt. You have a race, Satan versus Jesus Christ. Jesus is elected. You've got 8 years to deal with the system, something you're not going to be able to unravel. The only option is to start bypassing processes and creating loopholes so you can get things done. But in the end, Jesus is a two-term president, limited to 8 years, and he's out. And what's next? You've got the bad guy unopposed. We spend too much time fighting at the federal level. The battle is going to be won locally. Yeah! We stand up, we elect state legislators who will go and say no to these federal laws. Say, no, we will not accept gun control. No, we will not accept these food laws that are hurting farmers and hurting local Mainers who are just trying to make an honest living. We need to get our town councils to do the same, to stand up and say no. If we get enough people to say no, they can't implement it. What are they going to do? Arrest us all? The prisons are clogged up as it is. They don't have enough room in the prisons. That's why LePage wants 100 million more bonds to build another one. They can't put us anywhere. You stand up and you say no, and it's done. Peaceful non-compliance. It's been done many times in history, and it's won. Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, the examples go on forever. And they won their battle eventually. It was a rough ride getting there, but all they did was say no, because they knew there was injustice there. We can do this in Maine. We've done it before. Real ID. They tried forcing us to comply with federal laws, compile everyone into a database, start steering towards a national identification card. We said no. Marijuana is completely illegal at the federal level. We decided that if people want to use it medicinally in this state, let them do it. Yeah. We passed it. 2 laws already nullified. We can do it with other things. We get Obamacare on our door, and it's going to start crippling the economy, taking down the healthcare industry more. Why don't we just say no? Representative Aaron Libby has legislation in to handle these various issues like gun laws, Obamacare, and unconstitutional federal laws that affect in-state commerce. These are the bills that we all need to be uniting behind and pushing. And if we can get these introduced, because they probably won't pass in this legislature, we work over the next couple of years to get state legislators introduced and elected who will pass this stuff, get it introduced again, and keep pushing it, because this is where the battle is going to be won. Fighting at the federal level is not going to fix a thing. You elect a president, we've got a couple congressmen and a couple senators among many. All we can do here in Maine is send a couple voices in a big echo chamber. We need to start getting the state together, get that legislature changed, and put some true constitutional-minded people in there who will stand up. At the 10th Amendment Center, we're working towards that. Trying to push the legislation we have now. We have several good bills in there. We want to get people elected who will help advance this legislation. Right now, there are too many people up there who don't want to do a thing besides sit there and be scared of the federal government or comply with what they tell us, because that's what you're told to do. Or if we stand up, they might take that federal money away, and we can't have that lost. We need to start turning the tide, and the tide is turning in this country towards nullification, because it's the best alternative to what we have, and it's the best avenue to achieve liberty. Just a couple of years ago, when everything was starting to heat up with liberty in this country, the 10th Amendment Center was watching nullification movement get stuff going. It still wasn't really taking off. Now we're swamped internally trying to keep up with the news in all the 50 states, because most states have multiple pieces of legislation in addressing a number of different topics. It's catching on, and the mainstream media is finally opening up to it. This isn't something crazy. So what we need to do is we need to get together as Tea Partiers, Libertarians, Conservatives, Constitutionalists, whatever. We're all here for the same thing. We want to be free. And we're going to do that via nullification. Nullify the federal laws, because they're not laws if they do not have the force of law, and the supreme law is the Constitution. You violate the Constitution, it is an unlawful act. Stand up, get your legislature, get your town councils to stand up and say no. This is how we achieve liberty in America. This is how we achieve liberty in Maine. For more information on us, you can check us out at maine.10thamendmentcenter.com. I'll be here for a little while after. If you'd like to talk to me, I can give you information. We can get things rolling. But this is how we're going to achieve liberty in this country, with nullification. Thank you.